Hello, SMC traders. Welcome to this week SMC market outlook. And in this week, we're going to be talking about the DXY as usual. And then the DXY basket, we'll be talking about the pounds USD. And then the next pair is going to be the yen index. And in the yen basket, we'll be looking at the pounds JPY. So stay tuned and stay connected as I take you through the analysis for the week. Of course, we'll always start with the fundamentals, and here at the Forex Factory website. So our attention is being drawn to the 27th of February. 27th of February, right here on Friday, where we are having the core PPMI, that's the core producer price index. Okay, right now we're expecting a value of 0.3. That's a drop from what we usually have to 0.7%. But actually, this figure coming out is going to point, it's a key indicator to whether the GDP is going to perform better in this quarter. All right, so I'm looking at three indices here. I'm looking at the price index, that's the producer price index. I'm looking at the service PMI. Okay, that's the service contribution to the GDP, and I'm also looking at the that is the manufacturing index. Okay, the manufacturing PMI. These three figures, all right, they're going to determine whether we are going to have a positive GDP or we're going to have a negative GDP or a drop rather in the GDP of the US economy. So we'll be looking at this figure in the coming days, and then we'll know what's gonna be for the GBPUSD, because the US the dollar strength actually anchored on the GDP as coming out in this quarter rather. So that will actually give the Fed some insight as to what to do about the economy in terms of strengthening the dollar some more. If they're going to cut rates or they're going to reduce their interest rates. Okay, so from here we head straight to the charts, okay, and see how we can do some chart breakdown for the coming week. Okay. So guys, right here with me is the weekly chart for the DXY. We're starting with the DXY as usual. All right, and I'm not going to be going to the monthly charts. I'll just go straight to the weekly chart because that's where my primary concern is right now and where we have cleaner price action. So of course, we'll be watching this sweep of liquidity for a while now, and this pin bar that have formed. Okay, and we see that price have actually sustained itself above this pin bar. It has not broken this low yet. So for some time now, my bias for the US for the DXY have been bullish, and it has been playing out very nicely. Okay, so this is after the pin bar. This pin bar here on the weekly time frame, we have 1, 2, 3 candle, and this is going to be the fourth week that price have refused to break below this low on the DXY. So I'm still looking at the idea that yes, we may still be having some buys to the upside, and then I'll be targeting this high right here in the coming days ahead. So my bias is still very bullish for the DXY, and that's coming from the fact that one, liquidity was swept on the weekly time frame, and then we had this nice pin bar. All right, so I believe that price is still reacting off this pin bar, and still in the coming days we should still expect some reaction to upside, even though price is giving us some consolidation here, but I'm still looking to buy to the upside in the long term, of course. So we head to the daily time frame where price action start becoming clearer. All right, so I'm not too much sure about the daily time frame though. Okay, but what I'm actually seeing, what is actually poking out at me right here is what happened right here, this sweep of liquidity on the daily time frame. Well, I feel it's a temporary sweep of liquidity, and price may not actually pull all the way to the downside here, as I'm still seeing that maybe price may kind of come to play off this range right here, okay, before pushing to the downside. So we may actually have some sells in the entering on the daily time frame to the downside before we have a push to the upside. Okay, where we actually want to break down the price action and you see how clear the market structure is going to be on the 1 hour time frame, which is, of course, we all know here as Pro trading that the 1 hour time frame is our structure time frame. Okay, so we'll just head straight to the 1 hour. So right here on the 1 hour, okay, we can see how prices have been giving us very nice clean structures, okay, structural push. Okay, now what do we have? Okay, on our structural time frame, which is the 1 hour, we can see that first of all, from 2 weeks ago, we had a shift in market structure here, and then prices have been breaking up to the upside and giving us this break here, and this then we have this all this high here. Okay, and then now the market has come to make a shift in market structure right here. To remind you, today is Monday, and I'm actually doing this video a little bit late. Okay, we can see that the market has already given us, showed us his hand as to what it wants to do in the coming week. We have a shift here. So until price actually pushes up all the way to the upside to break this high here, we may still be looking to maybe sell the dollar into this area here before we get a push to the upside. But for now, I'm going to be looking to sell the US dollar right from here. Okay, I'll be looking for a push to the upside. Give us some, maybe price give us some confirmation here before we sell to the downside. That's for the short term. But I'm actually looking to buy the dollar in the long term. So that's actually my prediction for the US dollar, and I hope that price actually follow our analysis. Okay, so we will be picking the pounds USD in the dollar in the DXY basket. Okay, and see what we can trade off the pounds USD. So for the pounds USD, okay, we're going to be starting from the daily time frame. Okay, and we can see what price have been doing. Okay, price gave us very nice structure to the upside, and then we're now having some internal structure right here. Price came down, gave us a break of this structure here, and then our price is reacting off this demand zone on the daily time frame. You can see that price is giving us a bounce. Okay, so I told you that I'm expecting a bullish dollar. Okay, but we can see some bullish price action also on the pounds USD. We all know that the pounds USD is a kind of a flip of the DXY. All right, so what I'm actually looking at right is for price to actually push to the upside a little bit, maybe come under this zone right here. Okay, and then sell to the downside. Like I said, in the long term, I'm actually selling the pounds. I'm selling the pounds USD. Okay, so right here with me on the pounds USD 1 hour time frame. Okay, where we start seeing price acting out very cleanly. Okay, we can see what price is doing here. We can see price giving us this breaking structure. That's BOS here. Have another BOS here to the downside. And then now we are now seeing price coming to give us another BOS here. And then now looking at the shift in market structure here. So after price bounced off this demand zone, okay, what we're now looking to do is to actually see if we can get some confirmation entry if price happens to pull back to this area and then move to the upside. So that's how we actually plan to trade the pounds USD in the coming week. So I may be targeting this high up here, price to get here before I sell to the downside. Don't forget that the buy to the upside right here is actually in the short term. All right, so I was buying for the short term, but overall, we are looking to sell the pounds USD to the downside, and I hope that we catch a home run in the coming week. Okay, so we go to the yen basket, which is the yen index now, and see what the yen index have for us. For the yen index, okay, this is the yen index right here on the weekly time frame. All right, so remember this low that we actually marked from 4 weeks ago. All right, and this pin bar here right here, we also had this sweep of liquidity around this point here, and then now 2 weeks ago we had this bullish pin bar right here. Though even though last week we had some bearish price action on the weekly time frame, all right, our bias is still to the upside, all right, because we can see that this bullish pin bar, this bullish engulfing candle actually give us a reason to buy, from the last week. So we didn't actually place any trade last week because all what we were looking for was actually some bullish price action to the upside. Okay, even though we've gotten the buyers from here that okay, this low has been swept and also this pin bar formed here, and then we had this bullish candle forming 2 weeks ago on the weekly time frame. So everything points to the fact that we should be bullish in this market right here. Okay, so we'll go down to the daily time frame where we start seeing price action in detail. All right, we can see that price have been acting very nicely. Okay, you can see price coming all the way down to this side here. All right, and then we had a break of structure here, a bit of consolidation around here, and then price coming all the way down here, giving us a break of structure up here again. All right, and then price came down. Price didn't take out this low, which informs us that yes, we are still bullish in this market. So we can see that the whole of last week we were actually bearish. All right, now and then price is now coming to bounce off this support and resistance zone right here. So let's see how today's candle is going to close and see if we're going to get a bullish engulfing candle, and then that'll give us more confirmation that yes, we actually want to go to upside on the daily time frame. So on the 4 hour, okay, on the 4 hour, we're going to focus our attention on the most recent candlestick action pattern and the actions. All right, what's happening here? We can see that price actually gave us a shift in market structure here. All right, and then we have a kind of, not, I won't call it a full break of structure on the 4 hour time frame. All right, but what I want to focus your attention on is actually what's happened here. All right, which is a sweep of liquidity. So after price swept liquidity on the 4 hour time frame, it has given us this bullish candle, all right, this bullish action on the 4 hour, that's closing above this support and resistance coming from the daily time frame. So we'll actually be looking for some bullish price action going forward to head up to the upside. So we go down to the 1 hour, all right, and we can now see price also doing almost the same thing like we had on the 4 hour. What do we have? We also have price still, taking out this low right here, giving us a shift in market structure, and then a little break of structure here. Also, price actually closed with the full body candle right here, and then our price have actually gone up, swept liquidity from this point right here, and then now we're seeing price coming to react off this zone here. So I'll be looking for price to actually first make a push to the upside, clearing this high here. All right, this high that created this low. All right, so I'm going to be looking for price to actually break above this zone right here, come down, and then give us some buying reasons to the upside. So that's it for the yen index. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the pounds JPY, which is the currency pair we're actually picking from the yen index to trade this week. So here is the yen index on the weekly time frame, and the only thing you should pay attention to right here mostly is this. Can you see this massive weekly engulfing candle here on the weekly time frame for the yen, for the pounds JPY? All right, so we're going to be looking at this break here. All right, you can see that price, this candle actually took out all this liquidity right here and has closed below it. All right, so in the interim, we're going to be looking for a little bit of push to the upside. All right, maybe a little bit of push to the upside before price will actually descend downwards. Okay, now take a look at this. Okay, if you look at this price action very closely right here, you can see that we have something like a bearish supply zone right here. Okay, actually a supply zone. Okay, so if I'm to take out my rectangular tool and I mark out this side here, all right, so I'll be looking to actually see price trade into this point right here. I'm looking at price to trade into this zone right here before selling to the downside. Okay, so and then let's not also forget that price actually left a very fantastic fair value gap right here. All right, which is actually a price magnet, and I see that price will actually be attracted to that zone right there, coming all the way to this fair value gap, maybe coming to also tap into the supply zone on the weekly time frame before selling to the downside. But my bias for the pounds JPY is actually to sell it to the downside in the long term. In the short term, I'm looking for some buy, especially when I see some break of structure to the upside on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so without much further ado, all right, so let's go to the 1 hour time frame now. Then we'll see how price actually giving us the market action or the market structure push to the upside, if there's any at all, and I'll be looking at how to buy into that price action. So go straight actually to the 1 hour time frame. So here on the 1 hour time frame, okay, things actually wants to get a little bit tricky. All right, so remember how I said that we want to actually buy to the upside before selling down, but we have to be very careful here because we can see that price actually giving up. I'm actually finding it difficult to break above this high right here. Okay, it has been consolidating for a while, almost throughout last week. All right, so what we want to see is that if price actually comes to take out to this high right here, then we can look for some buy to the upside. But in the interim, just in case price decides not to break this high here, what we want to do is to look for a break of this low right here. All right, so look for a break of this low right here, and then we sell to the downside. However, what I also want to look at is also this. Also, that's why I say this 1 hour time frame right now is kind of tricky, and we have to be very careful right here. Okay, so if price actually has given us the whole of this, and then this, and then this, and then this, you can see a shift in market structure here, and then our price have actually pushed all the way to the upside. Mind you, all this here are actually internal price action on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, and then price refused to break above this side, meaning that this is still in a sell trend on the 1 hour time frame. So if markets push all the way to the upside here, Okay, can we see this supply zone right here? Let me mark out the supply zone properly. This supply zone right here. Okay, if price should come into the supply zone right here and give me some sell confirmation, I'm gonna take it. All right, but now that's why I say you have to be very careful and make sure that you wait for confirmation before you go into any buying or selling of the pounds JPY. All right, you want to see the market actually reacting off this supply zone to the downside. But for the long term, okay, if it to make more sense, if you can actually wait for price to actually take out this high and then push to the upside, if at all you're actually looking for a buy. But if price gets here and then on a lower time frame, which is the 5 minutes, we get some good confirmation to the downside, we're going to sell to the downside temporarily, okay? And then if price comes and take out this low right here, okay, then we'll be looking for a shift here, price going up and then going all the way to the downside. So that's how we look to actually trade the pounds JPY in the coming week. And there you have it in our weekly SMC market outlook here at Focus Trading. I remain Kenneth Unaji, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and like this video so that when we share video in the coming days, you can always get a notification for the video. All right, so may the pips be with us this week, and cheers for now. Bye.